Hello, beautiful people. This is Dr. Azadeh Katibi. I am here to talk about the Reclaiming Healthcare Fellowship. I am really excited. I want to start off by reading a poem, but before we get started, I'm going to let's see here. I'm going to put let's see, pin. Okay, there it is. I've pinned the Reclaiming Healthcare Fellowship link for you guys. I'm really excited to talk tonight. We're going to have some great people. So let's get started. I want to start off with a poem. Let's see. And I see Diana on here. Let's see if we can get her on here. But while we're getting her on here, let's. Oh, there's Diana. Hello. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's good to see you.
Good.
I'm one of my teachers in this fellowship. We have Harpinder, hopefully, who's going to be joining us as well. But while we're waiting for her, I thought we could start with a poem in honor of Halloween. And to get things started, we're going to be talking about our fellowship that we want people to join us for. But let's start off with a poem by Emily Dickinson for Halloween, and it's called "One Need Not Be a Chamber to be Haunted." One need not be a chamber to be haunted. One need not be a house. The brain has corridors surpassing material place, far safer of a midnight meeting, external ghost, than an interior confronting that cooler host, far safer through an abbey gallop that stones a chase, that moonless one's a self-encounter in lonesome place. Ourself behind ourself concealed should startle most. Assassin hid in our apartment be horror's least. The prudent carries a revolver. He bolts the door, o'erlooking a superior specter more near. So I love that poem. That poem was something that I listened to, or I learned about when I was on my own journey, trying to untangle my past and put it in and put the pieces of the puzzle together. And it really helped me. What she's talking about is the fact that our minds can be something quite frightening, and it can haunt us. And it's been a good reminder for me to realize that I'm human. Other people have been through this human journey, and that we don't have to be haunted, right? We don't have to be like Emily. So, and that but it's quite powerful that she talked about it. And one of the things I'm really excited about, and Harpinder's here, so I'm going to add her on. But one of the things I'm really excited about is that there's some great people coming together for this healthcare fellowship that we're teaching, that we're going to learn from each other so that we can untangle things for ourselves and really reclaim our own health and then reclaim health for our society. So,
Agreed.
had
Thank you for.
you heard that poem? Had you heard that poem before?
No, that was my first time.
Oh my God, I love that poem. Let's see if Harpinder is going to be here. Let's accept, go live. Hopefully she can join us. But I thought I'd start off with that. I'm working on getting while I'm working on Harpinder here. I'd love, Diana, for you to kind of tell us a little bit about yourself. Ah, there she is. Hello.
Yay.
Perfect time, Harpinder. We were going to start our introductions and talk about the fellowship we're having.
Perfect.
Awesome. Diana, do you want to get started? Tell people about yourself.
Yeah, sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Diana Cantu-Reina. I also go by D or Diana. I am super excited about this fellowship. My background is a nurse. I'm a nurse. I also am a community organizer and amateur farmer and herbalist and all the things. And so I'm had my own journey through health and working in the hospital system and seeing a lot of deterioration in my colleagues, with noticing it in myself over the years, and really feeling that this is only getting worse. And so we see ourselves reflected in actually our patients and our communities. And so over the years, it's been a journey to get to a point where I have noticed and felt empowered to do something about it. And so I think, it's been a journey finding that, because being a part of the system can be very disempowering. And so I'm just really excited and honored to be with these incredible humans like yourselves, collaborating to create this offering, because it's really needed right now. And yeah, I know we'll go into the details of the fellowship a little bit more, but that's just a little bit about me. And yeah, so thank you.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for sharing that. Harpinder?
Yeah, I can share. My name is Harpinder Kaur Mann. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm a trauma-informed yoga teacher. I'm a mindfulness educator. I work primarily at mental health centers. I work with teens impacted by the justice system. I've worked in foster homes. Most of my private clients are women of color. I'm engaged to a doctor, and I was with him all throughout medical school through residency. And so I've seen firsthand with those that I support, with the ancient science and philosophy of yoga, and then supporting my partner and all of his classmates through medical school and residency, what a gap there is. And for me personally, I'm interested in seeing like the East meets West, where there isn't a hierarchy of allopathic medicine being seen better, and there being an integration of traditional Chinese medicine, of yoga. But I think also for those that work within these spaces, whether like healthcare professionals, doctors, yoga teachers, having that understanding for ourselves, being able to look at the systems that exist as they do, and then seeing what impact we can have to make these systems better. And sometimes for me, it's just that awareness of, in this program, we're going to be talking about food and farming and what impact we can have on a local scale, and seeing how that blossoms out. So also very excited to be a part of this fellowship alongside so many amazing teachers and doctors, and seeing the impact that we can have.
Oh yeah, I'm super excited too, Harpinder. And I'm really excited to learn from both of you in the fellowship. I'm taking the certification course too, at least I'm planning on it. So because I was like, I want to get the certification. I want to learn from these great, amazing people, like yoga informed practitioners and traditional Chinese medicine doctors and psychologists. It's a really great opportunity. My name is Dr. Azadeh Khattibi. I'm a medical doctor. I also have my master's in public health and another in health and medical sciences. I came to this teaching this course through a journey of being a doctor, as well as then also going through my own health journey and really having to be able to see it from both sides, and then understanding that there's other ways of thinking about health rather than the reductionist, almost sometimes scientific way of looking at things. There's many ways of knowing as well. And so for the past 8 years, I've been on that journey of learning and working on myself. And then as you work on things in your control, your circle of control and influence grows. And now I've been doing a lot more advocacy work for doctors and medical care professionals in California. I testified in front of Congress last fall regarding free speech in medicine. And I'm also a filmmaker, so I'm making a film about that topic as well as things that interest me. I've done films about the Yazidi genocide, and so there's that creative side of me as well. I'm super excited to be a part of this healthcare fellowship. Maybe Diana, you can tell us what the fellowship actually is and why we're gathered here to talk about it.
Yeah. So the fellowship is called Reclaim Healthcare. We are coming together and inviting in healing practitioners of all kind. And I think you said this really beautifully, Azadeh, when you were, when we talk about expanding and broadening our scope and our ideas of what actually a healer is, because we think about doctors being healers, but there's so many different types of healers in our communities, our mothers, our grandmothers, aunties, uncles, everybody, everyone is a healer in their own way. And so, so this coming to this reclamation of the healer within, so that we can also learn and cultivate tools that fill our cups and also empower us to show up more authentically in our truth in our communities. And so right now, the potent time in the in this universe, in this reality, to really come together and to learn from each other, to share our practices, to grieve together, and hold space for a new paradigm of health. So really, that's the journey that we're inviting you all into as we come together. And I presume that the next time we do this, it's going to be different. And I think that that's just the nature of this journey, that it's going to evolve because we are an ecosystem and we're bringing organisms, and ecosystems change with the introduction of new organisms. And so I'm really excited because each one of these teachers has had a personal journey and is showing up in such a unique and beautiful way in their own community that is actually bridging, like Harpinder was saying, bridging that east and west, and doing it in a way that is regenerative and also honoring the roots and the lineages, and not extracting and not doing it in this way that allopathic medicine tends to integrate new things. I'll give you like a little example. I don't know if I shared this with you guys either, but there was the emergency room in the hospital that I used to work for was integrating acupuncture, beginning to integrate acupuncture to pediatrics to set fractures. I don't know why I just grabbed my shoulder, but I just thought of shoulder, right? So to see if they could minimize the amount of opioids that they were giving and sedation. And it was funny because Dr. Bashwati, who is actually also one of the teachers in this awesome group here, I asked her to join me because she was visiting a retreat together. And so we went, and it was really interesting to see this introduction of this really deep, rich modality. Just again, like you said, Azadeh, being reduced down to like scientific, and that's important. Like it is important for us, especially like the way that we've learned medicine and health here. It's important for us to understand it, to have that like science background. So it's not really, I'm not saying that, but it was really just like these people had just taken a class and, learned or taken some certification program. And then all of a sudden they were like teaching other people about acupuncture. And it was funny because Bashwati actually raised her hand and she asked questions, and she's like, oh, do you know about what Ayurveda is? Do you know what Marma points are? Kind of asking these questions. Of course, nobody knew. And by the end of that lecture, everybody was like hovered around her, asking her questions.
Wow.
Because here to see this gap. And so I think like that's when we're speaking to bridging in a way that is honoring like these wisdom traditions, like to integrate the spiritual aspect of it, because you can't separate them, and that's what has happened. So so yeah, that's a little bit about my feelings that automatically come up around this. Yeah, curious how, what about you, Harpinder? Like, what are you excited about?
I mean, I feel like personally, I'm excited for all the different teachers and guides that we have touching on like things like advocacy, like what does it look like to advocate for there to be changes within healthcare. I'm excited to learn from Dr. Um, the different doctors that are in the program, and I definitely can feel into sometimes when we're not honoring the wisdom, like tradition holders of these different practices, not bringing them in, and instead kind of how you're describing, it's like maybe people that are licensed as doctors get taught acupuncture, then they get taught to go ahead and do that. But how about the people that have been studying and practicing for years and years? Why are they not being honored and brought in? I feel like as a yoga teacher, I've also been seeing like how yoga teachers are being brought into hospitals, into like for myself, mental health centers as well. So I feel like there is a change. I feel like there is a change happening in these different systems and places. And so it's even teaching those that join the program like what part that the people and the attendees can play themselves. Like how can they slot in into this world that's starting to change? And what part they can have in making a change in themselves, and then seeing the systems that are changing, and starting to have that awareness.
Yeah, I think there's a big in the course, the Reclaiming Healthcare Fellowship, it's an 8-week course that we're teaching, really is about empowering the people, not only empowering them to like advocate in their own communities, but also creating a community ourselves. So creating this additional community, networking, which people will have an opportunity to do too, to kind of create that community, which will then buoy the participants up, so they'll even have more confidence, insight, ability to go forward in their communities and do that advocacy work, whether it is doing work to bring plant medicines or advocating using their voice. And so let's go talk about actually what the course entails. And so it's an 8-week certification, top people in their fields, doctors, psychologists, nurses, yoga instructors, traditional Chinese medicine doctors, engineer, a former city commissioner, great people. The dates of that, Diana, you have the specific dates for the course. It starts in November, so it's just going to start very soon.
No, it starts November 16th, which is a Saturday. And so we're going to be gathering from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 consecutive Saturdays beginning November 16th. And we're going to be skipping the Saturday after Thanksgiving, which I believe is the 30th, and then the Saturday after Christmas and before the New Year. We'll skip those 2 holiday Saturdays, and then we'll pick up on the next one. So those are the dates that we have currently.
So we give you a holiday break for the holiday break. So it's some time to integrate what you're learning and process it. And then, you know, because the subconscious works while we're doing something else, the subconscious is still integrating, then it will come back. Oh, Harpinder left, but hopefully she'll come back on. So the teachers that are teaching,
right? Like there's, I think also the idea too is that we're also going to be offering, you know, resources, whether they're podcasts, reading, videos, and things in between. And really, the coming together is that integration, the processing, and really, yeah, like speaking into these things that we're going through, and really heart storming around, like how does it look like to shift the healthcare in your community? Because it might look for me, it might be like bringing a farmer's market to my town, and doing education around regenerative farming. For someone else, it might be offering yoga to foster youth. For someone, it might be actually bringing integration course into the hospital that they work at. So a lot of us have been doing that work and are doing it, you know, as we speak. And so it's really good to learn from have done it and are doing it, and so that we can build solidarity around that, right?
I love that. Let's talk about what the topics are going to be, people who join the fellowship. And the fellowship is only $108 for 8 weeks. I calculated that. So every week, each class is $13.50
Wow.
per person, which is like a fantastic deal.
You can't take class. You can't take any class for that
Not at
amount of
all.
money. Yeah.
No, my yoga class is like $30, you know? So this is a great deal with awesome people. And so the first week, and we're basing it kind of, the framework of the course is through the chakra system. So we just kind of go up, developing our alignment over time. So we start off with week 1. The topic is food and place as medicine. Indi Rishi Singh is teaching that course. We're going to be talking about farming practices, grounding, pesticides, and what organizations are doing about it, ecology, and stewardship of your own body as well as the ecosystem. So I think that's the idea of seeing the natural world integral to our own individual health is something really powerful.
Yeah. Even just that topic in itself, we can bridge the science there, right? And look at the soil systems and how they're really a direct reflection of human health, and even asking that question, like, how is our soil right now? You know, is it healthy?
It's terrible.
Right? And then, ourselves and our gut microbiome. And so I think that's such an important topic to start off with.
You're right. That's the root. So after that, we're going to be talking about week 2 is going to be sacral chakra. It's going to be taught by Dr. Bhaswati Bhattacharya, who is an MD and a PhD, and she's a specialist and an MPH. I mean, she's like amazing. So she's a specialist in Ayurveda, and she's going to talk about the medicines plants as medicine, and how different plants have different properties, and looking at health through an Ayurvedic lens as well, which is really, really powerful. The next week is the solar plexus. The topic is willpower and digestion, taught by Dr. Charlie Trin, who's a traditional Chinese medicine doctor, is also an engineer. I believe he's an engineer. Is he a computer science programmer?
Yeah.
Anyway, another brilliant guy.
Yeah, he was a computer engineer, did game development for Disney, and then discovered his own connection to healing, and now has become a doctor of acupuncture medicine. Is also an astrologer. Hey, Harpinder, welcome back.
Yeah.
So we've in a lot of astrological sciences as well, and it's really fun to hear Dr. Charlie talk about what's going on, and in with regard to like the TCM perspective and astrology, and kind of weaving that together. It's really, really awesome. So
wow, yeah, I follow him on Instagram, but I'm really excited to like delve deep into his knowledge. So he's going to be talking about things like the power of the navel on the base of the sternum, our gut instinct, the Dantian point and why it's so powerful, digestion, nutrition, herbs and nutrition, expressing intention, honesty and inner power, personal power, self-esteem, the fire element, and the power of chi, and how to gather food from the energy from the food we eat, and certain breathing practices he's also going to be talking to us about. So that's going to be really exciting and something to learn from when you sign up for the fellowship. The next week after that, we're going to be starting the heart chakra. Diana's going to be teaching that. Diana, do you want to talk about what kind of topics you will be covering?
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a wide variety of topics, but really connecting to the heart space and recognizing the power of our magnetic field. Connecting heart math. I don't know if people are familiar with that, but really
I can't wait to learn.
Heart math. That's something that I'm also going to invite Dr. Charlie in to speak about. That's something that he's studied really extensively. So the other thing too, what's beautiful about this is that, like, just because one person is kind of has like a topic, it's actually still very collaborative. You know, like that we all still will be contributing to each other and supporting each other, and also calling in the wisdom of the students as well, right? Who are participating, because all of them are going to have amazing experience to offer and wisdom.
Yeah.
So talking about herbs for the heart, talking about yeah, like just really exciting stuff. I think the heart is a really powerful space.
And oft ignored. So if you're excited, if you're joining us, we're talking about the Cultivating Self Fellowship, so the Reclaiming Healthcare Fellowship offered by the nonprofit, organized by the nonprofit Cultivating Self. And if you want to sign up for the fellowship, it's only $108 for 8 weeks. And you go to www.cultivatingself.org/reclaiming healthcare fellowship. So that brings us to week 5, which is the throat chakra, which is the course I'm going to be teaching on communication and advocacy. Lots of topics to cover there. We're going to be doing some learning communication techniques for having difficult conversations. So how to have a challenging conversation with someone in the personal realm or in the professional realm. And then we'll break out into practice sessions and practice with each other. We're going to learn about different techniques and schools of thought about how to do that. And then we're also going to discuss paths to advocacy. So how do we take it from like thinking about something, worrying about something, complaining about something, to actually taking action for it. And there's like a journey to get to that place where you can take action steps forward. Because some people have a hard time getting there. They want to do something, or they don't know where to start, the best place to start. So this information, this class is going to give you some techniques to empower you to get started on that for yourself. And then we're going to talk about how to build bravery, how to build strength, how to build centeredness for yourself. And then I'll also share my own personal experience of going and testifying in front of Congress and the practices that I did that led up to that, to be able to go there and speak from a place of centeredness when you're going on the record to testify in front of so many people. And then we'll break out into multiple practice sessions, and we'll do some visualization practice as well. And that brings us to the week after that. That's the third eye chakra. Harpinder, do you want to talk about what you're going to be teaching in that course?
Yeah, of course. So for the third eye chakra, we'll be exploring pranayama, but not pranayama as diluted down to just be breath work. We'll be understanding what is prana, what are the different kinds of prana in our body, what does it mean for us to have an awareness about our energetic life force. And then from this exploration, then we will be exploring the breath. There's a definition of yoga that I've really been anchoring into. Yoga is when we have the awareness of our breath. So even now, as I'm talking, I'm trying to bring myself to noticing my breath as I'm talking, which allows me to have awareness of my own presence, even in conversation with others. And so sharing how like attendings for themselves can notice the breath, can find ways to self-soothe or to have more energy in ways that could be then shared with people that you work with, whether that is maybe at nursing homes or in the hospital. I used to run an organization called the Women of Color Summit, and we had one of our sponsors um, was an emergency room doctor, and she talked about sometimes with her, the people that would come in, they didn't need medicine, they didn't need anything. All they needed was her presence. She would hold their hand and they would breathe together. And so something so simple as like the gift of our awareness, the gift of our presence, the gift of our breath, we forget that. And so I'll be bringing that reminder back in and actually understanding from like the perspective of the subtle energies or the subtle layers within the body, and then tapping into more of the practices we can do for ourselves and for those that we work with as well.
Wow.
Wow.
I, wow.
Can't wait for that class.
Like,
Diana, are you so excited? I'm so excited.
for explaining that, Harpinder, I was literally just visualizing, people that I know in my workplace, embodying that, carrying that through with the patients and in these really intense situations. And I know that that has been such a tool for me personally, you know, being at the bedside of somebody who's dying, a family, like sitting with them, you know, a mother who has just lost her child, and really just, like you said, holding her hand and just breathing with her. And that's it. And it's just that, it's just pure presence. And a lot of times I feel that as healthcare providers, we feel that we have to say so much, or like we feel like we have to do something. And it really is so beautiful how you just described that, you know, like we actually just don't, you know, we just need to be present and to breathe. And it's sometimes just that simple, you know? So I feel like that's so empowering. I love it. I'm really excited. Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Well, I'm excited too, and one of the things I really love about the class you're going to teach that you're talking about is like bringing the traditional yoga in, not the Americanized version that's like
Core power
stripped,
yoga. This is
stripped of
I
all meaning.
for a core power yoga like class.
I mean, if anybody is wanting core power, I can do my best. I can do my best to bring some of that in as well. No worries for those coming into this
No,
one.
yoga six. Actually, I thought this was yoga six. No,
So
but
yeah,
it's great.
these are going to
It's cool.
these are great. So for those of you in the science field, the healthcare field, go to www.cultivatingself.org/reclaiming healthcare fellowship and sign up. Join us. We're going to be learning and teaching so much together.
Yeah.
So should we talk about some questions people have submitted in the past?
Yeah.
That,
I
like,
think we forgot one more chakra. One more chakra. We have the crown, which Dr. Minnie,
oh, that's right.
Dr. Minnie Manmeet Ratu, she's going to be sharing the neuroscience of stress and trauma and resilience, and also yoga therapy. She's a clinical psychologist who also weaves in yoga into her work, and also teaches yoga at Stanford, and is, yeah, so just a lot of really cool stuff going on with Dr. Minnie. So she will be tackling that, and I'm sure all of us will be, again, collaborating to share, to talk about this topic as well. So, but yeah, we can now jump into some questions. Does anybody have questions, or?
Yeah, if anybody listening has any questions, go ahead and put them in the text box, in the chat box. In the meantime,
Well,
somebody had asked,
oh, go ahead.
had asked in the past, who is this open to? Diana, do you want to answer who is this open to?
Yeah. I mean, again, coming back to this definition, I think that, you know, that we were talked about at the beginning of this conversation, we're calling it the healers of all kinds, the yoga teachers, the community leaders, because there are, again, we're all healers in some way, but we really are calling in healthcare providers, yoga teachers, community organizers, and caregivers of all kinds to come together and learn. So I really, everyone is welcome.
I have a couple family members. They're not specifically in the healthcare space, but like they're very much invested in like learning about their own health, and also integrating public health practitioners. And so I'm trying to get them on board. Actually, one of them I'm signing her up. Like, it's a done deal. Because like this information is so important.
And it's for everyone.
And I think anybody who's also in policy, like any policymaker who's involved in healthcare policy, it would really behoove them to learn this as well. I understand now that Medi-Cal is going to be covering some practice. I think you posted this, Diana. Did you, like, or somebody did, like, that Medi-Cal is now going to be covering on the Indian health programs, some traditional practices, like.
Yeah, I actually saw that. I didn't post it, but I did see that they are going to be. I think Indy might have posted it. I think it was that they were going to start covering cultural practices under Medi-Cal.
Yeah,
which is huge. So I'm also learning. I haven't shared, but I'm in this new role. I'm in case management now. I'm like back in back in the grind and actually really loving it so much. And I'm learning a lot about county and state resources that are available. And there's a lot of resources available that many people just don't know about.
Yeah, we don't know about them.
For children. So I'm really excited to to share some of that as well, just so that people are aware and can also share in their communities, because you might not need it for yourself, but it's always really nice to be able to be a resource for others.
Yeah, so if you want to be part of it, go to cultivatingself.org/reclaiming healthcare fellowship. Another question we had is how will we honor the ancient traditions that we are teaching? We've touched a little bit about that, but does anybody else want to talk about that? For me personally, I think it's really important to teach the historical basis of where things are coming from. So when you know the history, why did they do what they did? What was their thinking? And then also, so it's not, then you're not really appropriating because you're honoring the past, and and then hopefully bringing the people who are alive, who still, are kind of the bridge between what you're teaching and what they had brought forth, is that you're incorporating them into the economic model of how you're getting reimbursed. But that's another conversation. But I also think it's important to understand that we are also part of that fabric of teaching these things now. It's not like, oh, the past was the past, this is what they learned and we're going to teach it. No, we take that knowledge and then we're also adding to it in some way. And I think that's important to know too. We're kind of translating it or interpreting it, and then also noticing things and adding to that knowledge too, which is, I think, really powerful. And it's an honorable place to be, and an important sacred position, and to do it well is important. So we're always aware of that.
Mm. Yeah, thank you for sharing. I think this is always um, an excellent thing to reflect back on. Um, in which ways are we practicing, teaching, and sharing that are in reverence to the lands, cultures, and peoples in which these practices come from? I also don't think there's a way to perfectly do that. So I think it's like having the best of intentions, sharing, as you're saying, like sharing the histories, sharing and talking about the teachers from who we learned from. I think it's also sharing, and also like the way that these things are presented is in a way where it doesn't feel like it's being extractive, where it's shared within the depths of where it's coming from. Um, and then also for those that come and take these trainings, like they shared in the same way, like knowing the history, knowing that they've learned it from us and who our teachers are. And then not turning around and then say if they learn some breath techniques, like then turning that into like a whole business. And so I think there's a way of also being mindful of like the way that we are ourselves practicing and teaching and the context in which it's being delivered. So that's something I'm always very personally thinking about myself and aware. I have a whole book coming out about it next year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I think it's an excellent thing to reflect on, but something I always hold near and dear to my heart is that we're not going to be able to do it perfectly. And so the way that I might share these practices, someone else might feel there's a way to do it with more reverence and being open to that. And so, yeah, I'll share that.
That's beautiful.
I love that.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be teaching this course with you. Another question we had was, what are the other, aside from the information in the course, what are the other benefits of this course?
Before we go on to the next question, I want to touch on that, because when that question came in, I was actually really grateful for it. And, asking this question about extraction, because this is also similar to Harpinder. I also feel, as I teaching space more in the last couple of years, it's been something I'm very conscious of, and everywhere I go. And I think and for me, something that all the things that you both described, yes, 100%. And yes, I agree. I'm always welcoming like feedback, like how can I learn? How can I do better? And also I feel it's really important to, yes, have reverence, and also invite people to be curious about their own cultural practices, because we all come from deep, like very rich cultures, no matter where you come from in the world. We all have come from some earth-based practices in some way. And so I really, and this is, again, this is, my teachers have practiced this, and so this is something I have learned from them, is that really that invitation to get curious about your own lineage, and maybe even it's like asking your mother or your grandmother or anyone, like, what were some home remedies, when you used to get sick, what did abuelita used to make for you? Or had this conversation with my mom last week, and it was so sweet. And I now have this like little list of like home remedies that my grandma would make for my mom and my aunts and uncles when they got sick. So just little things like that I feel are so sweet, because then that really allows us to remember that we are these carriers of medicine, deep medicine, and that we actually, yes, we can learn a lot from other cultures, but I think the medicine of that is to really look internally and see what we hold, to offer, and what has maybe been forgotten, and remembering that. So anyway, I just wanted to share that, because that's something that I feel like is really important in this work, is like, yes to all the modalities from around the world. And I think this is a really potent time that Indigenous cultures are actually wanting to share, and I'm so grateful for that. And yes, like, how can we reclaim our own medicines?
Wow.
So thank you.
Snaps. Oh my gosh. I can't wait to teach this Reclaiming Healthcare Fellowship with you guys. And that kind of goes into, your answer kind of goes into what other benefits are of this course. You're reclaiming healthcare not just for society, but you're reclaiming it for yourself. And that connection with the self, I think, is, when you start practicing these things and thinking about like, what is health, and how do I tap into my body and my breath? It is inevitably a journey inward. So I think that's another benefit of this course. You're going to be going on that journey inward, as well as networking with and meeting groups of like-minded people, and broadening your view, broadening your perspective, and then also inward, kind of broadening your view, broadening your possibilities for yourself, for your own health, and for the health of your community. I think that's really powerful, just by being in space with people, virtual space, because this is all online. And Diana, are we going to be recording in case somebody misses a week, can they, it's going to be recorded so they can catch up later on in the week?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
I feel like that's, I don't know if we've like formally discussed that, but I feel like that's a really nice practice, and just really have that flexibility and expansiveness of like, maybe I can't make it, but I can make time for it on this day, and still being able to come back. So yeah, I feel like that's great.
And then what does the certification with the Reclaiming Healthcare Fellowship get you? Or what do you have? You get the certification, but what does that entail actually? So how do you get the certification, basically, is the question.
So you get the certification by coming to the class, showing up, and just being present, and participating. And I think, it's really, what I'm really excited about with this is actually being able for us to offer CEUs. So I'm in talks with folks right now, looking to reconnect with some of my colleagues in the space where we can offer continuing education for nurses, social workers, and psychologists, therapists, as well as hopefully CME for MDs. But that can sometimes be a little bit tricky, so I'm not sure about that. But there are pathways, and we're going to be exploring that for hopefully the next cohort, to be able to, because a lot of places, a lot of like even my work, we get a certain amount of hours per year that we can allocate to like get our continuing education paid for. So as long as that particular educational course offers CEs. So that is in the works, but eventually the certification will get you that. That's the goal. And now you'll be part of the community and have access to our courses, be able to hopefully get like discounts in the future. I feel like there's going to be a lot of perks. But we're kind of it's an experiment too.
So it's a 30-hour certification. There's 16 hours of in-class time. There is some experiential learning and self-paced learning outside, watching some videos, maybe listening to some podcasts or learn greater understanding. And then it's that certification then you can use to put on your resume through the nonprofit. So it's a certification through the Cultivating Self nonprofit.
Yeah. That I think is really beautiful as I participated in learning in this way, and these really that builds really beautiful community, is that a lot of times students end up teaching as well in the future, right? So this is also an opportunity for you to come experience the journey with us and see how it feels, and if you want to be a teacher in the next cohort, or who knows, it's really open. And again, this is really collaborative learning and teaching, very community focused. So I think that's another perk, I guess you could say.
Yeah, for sure. Building that interconnected community where we can learn from each other and grow. So again, it's only $108 for 8 weeks of in class.
And what does that do per class? $13?
$13.50 a class, which is like $6 and something. It's like very low, like $6.75. Don't quote me on the number. Per hour. It's a great deal. It's a great deal to learn from MD PhDs, MD MPHs, doctors of acupuncture, psychologists, nurses. I mean, the list goes on and on. So I don't really have anything else to say, but just join the class, join us, and we're going to have a lot of great sharing, great learning, great teaching, and you get the certification at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, please join us. Thank you, ladies, for being here. It's fun. It's just also awesome to see your faces and to get excited about what we're creating together, and to be able to share it and call in the healer warriors to come in, to answer the call.
Wow.
So thank you.
Healer warrior. I love that imagery. So it's the Reclaiming Healthcare Fellowship. Go to www.cultivatingself.org/Reclaiming Healthcare Fellowship to sign up. Let's reclaim healthcare together.
Yes. Awesome. Much love.
And
Happy
have a beautiful
Diwali, everybody.
Happy the end
Oh,
of the
that's right. Happy Diwali.
Happy New
Now,
Moon as well today.
What was that?
which one?
Happy New Moon. It's a new moon today as well.
Oh, great. Thank God. I need it. So the next challenge is to see, how do I end the live? Does anybody know how to end a live?
Use an X at the very top. You press.
Thank God somebody knows. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye, y'all.
It's lovely to see you guys. Bye.